Take two. I tried this a moment ago and apparently my sound was completely messed up. So hopefully I'm coming through this time. And I was so inspired that I can get inspired again. When my daughter was about 5, I asked her to help me clean up the house one Saturday. I said to her, honey, will you help me clean up? And if you will help me clean up, then I will do whatever you want to do tomorrow. Of course, in my mind, I'm thinking, let's go to Six Flags, or let's go to the water park, or we can even go out to the lake, or Chuck E. Cheese. Instead, what she said to me was so beautiful and so precious. She said, oh, Mommy, will you play a game with me? Of course, I said, I will play games with you all day long if that's what you want. I felt so, even now that I talk about it, so sad that she thought it had to be something super special and that she would have to do something to get that from me, when in fact I would have done it for her anytime she asked. So I did. I spent the day playing mostly Candyland with her all day, and it was beautiful and I loved it. And the truth is, I don't know if she even remembers it, but the truth is it doesn't matter, because I know that it made a difference. And what it made a difference in is that she knew she mattered enough for me to take the day with her. She knew that she could ask me to spend time with her, and I would. And I'm recognizing more and more how difficult it is for some of us to know that we have value, to know that we have worth, to know that we matter. And how is it that we learn that, right? Many of us grow up in environments where we don't get the message that we matter, or that we have worth, or that we have any value. And so then we're stuck with a lifetime of believing that we don't matter, trying to pretend like we think we do. I'm Melody Brooke. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I'm a marriage and family therapist. I'm an author, speaker, singer, songwriter. No, I'm not maybe I am a songwriter. Screenwriter, producer, and actor. And man, you would think that if I have the courage to do all those things, I must have some sense of self-worth, that I must have some sense that I matter. And the truth is, most of my life, there's always been a core belief that I didn't. And what I've learned about that is that somehow unconsciously, the message that I got from my family of origin was that my feelings, my thoughts, my things that I was unhappy about, the things I didn't like, the things that I really wanted, the nurturing that I needed, and the attention to me was not important. And as a result, I believed that I had no real worth. And so I did spend a lot of my life, maybe that's part of why I'm an actor and do all the things I do, is because I needed to find some sense that I do matter, and that I do have worth, and that I do have value. And of course, none of those things that I do are going to give me that feedback, because the truth is we can't get that from other people. Not anymore. Yes, we got that as children. We needed to get it as children because that's our foundation from which we grow into our adulthood with. And without that foundation, we continue to look for that sense of affirmation and validation and sense of worth and value from other people. But when we have a core belief that that's not true, even when we get it from other people, we don't believe it. We don't accept it. As much as we seek it, we internally will reject it because we don't honestly believe it. So what do we do? How do we begin to reclaim our inherent value, our birthright that of knowing that we matter? How do we regain our sense of worth in our presence here on this planet when we have been programmed for so long to believe that we have none. Well, I have worked with clients for over 30 years. And of course, I've worked with my own issues around that for over 30 years and learned finally to get it that I can't receive it from anyone else. And I don't, if I don't know what that is, even, how do I give it to myself? How do I give it to the people around me? It's hard for me to give it to myself, to own it for myself. But I am able to give it to other people because I can see what they need. And many of us can understand what a child needs, what a loved one needs, what our friends need. We can present ourselves to them. We can give them validation. We can tell them with tearfully how much they mean to us. We can spend time with them and give them accolades for their gifts. But then when we try to receive them ourselves, we feel uncomfortable. We feel an internal struggle with our belief system that goes against the feedback that we're getting. So we don't even believe the things that are given to us from the people outside of us for whom we are seeking that validation. I mean, you can see it in rock stars and movie stars whose lives crumble because they are thinking that that's going to somehow fill that hole inside of them that exists from their childhood, not from their current life. So how do we do it? How do we find that inherent value that we have when we've never been shown it? It begins with how we treat ourselves. So starting with, how do we address mistakes that we've made? If we make a mistake, we treat ourselves with the same empathy and understanding that we would for our child? Say our child has spilled a glass of milk, and maybe it's because they put it too close to the edge of the table. And so we can use that then as a learning opportunity to express to them, oh, honey, oh, I'm so sorry that happened. What happened was you had the glass a little close to the edge of the table. So next time, maybe pull it in quite a bit so that you don't risk that happening. Or whatever, right? Provide them with information, be empathetic. Learn from it, allow them to learn from it. That's how a healthy person responds to a child when they make mistakes. So we want to respond in a healthy way to our own mistakes. When we fall off a bicycle, we have to get back on to learn how to do it. We get back on and we go, oh, well, let me work on my balance a little more because clearly I don't have that down quite right yet. We learn from those mistakes. We don't punish ourselves for those mistakes. But if we do punish ourselves for those mistakes, we're not going to learn from them. We're also going to increase our sense of not mattering, increase our sense of lacking in value and worth. So it begins with developing that empathy and understanding for ourselves, giving ourselves validation for the efforts that we make, encouraging ourselves the same way we would encourage our loved ones, which I know when you're not at core believing those things is really difficult to do. And yet it is how we can piece by piece bring back a sense of inherent worth that we were born with. We just lost it over time when it didn't get reinforced from the humans that we interacted with as a child. So we can begin to take the steps to show ourselves that we matter by how we treat ourselves, not just in the language that we use in talking to ourselves. Certainly that's one way, but another way is to take the steps to do what you need to do to care for yourself, just like you do with your child. You make sure they have enough to eat. You make sure that they get enough exercise and playtime and rest and time to themselves to integrate their learning and provide them with opportunities for learning and growth and encouragement and validation and empathy for what they're experiencing. Those things all together and giving them nurturing and care, comfort when they're hurting, reinforcement for their ideas. These are all things we can learn to give to ourselves. It may not be easy, and there may be already going off in your brain some complaints about the whole idea of that. But yet, that is how you can begin to retrain yourself to see yourself as someone who matters, who has value and worth. And honestly, honey, you're the only one who can give you that. Speaking up for yourself, saying what you like and you don't like, not going along with things that you're uncomfortable with, showing yourself that your opinions, your needs, your desires matter, speaking up for yourself, brushing your teeth, washing your face, taking massages, going for walks, doing dance, doing things that are fun for you, whatever those fun things are, whether it's sports or music or just playing games with friends and children, whatever it is, just find those things that bring you joy. That teaches you that you matter when you allow yourself to have those things. When we treat ourselves as if we had no value, we do things like smoking cigarettes and sitting on the couch all day, just watching Netflix or skimming through our phone, or not engaging our brain and giving ourselves the nurturing and the self-care, the daily activities of self-care that we have to do. We don't do those things. We start to believe and reinforce whatever messages we got as children. So I invite you to find one or two things that you could add to what you're already doing, if you are already doing some things, to show yourself that you matter. Even if it's just increasing the number of times you brush your teeth, or take hot baths, or go for walks, or give yourself a few minutes of exercise. Find one thing. Make sure that you plan one fun activity every week. Whatever it is that you can add to what you're already doing to increase that sense of value, so that you can begin to build your own awareness of the gift that you are to humanity. And we all are, each of us, an incredible gift. We were born for a reason. We have things to offer to the world that matter. And the more you can allow yourself to embrace that, the more you can reward all these things about you that are wonderful. And no, we're not perfect. We make mistakes. We learn things. And we have some things that we habitually do that we are always going to habitually do, especially if you're neurodivergent like me, and be able to embrace all of those differences, handicaps, personality traits, with love, with acceptance, even humor. And you will begin to shift that sense of mattering, which is at the core of anxiety and depression and addictions and all the other many of the other mental health issues that we have today, because we haven't learned that we matter, that we have value. Start showing yourself. Start treating yourself as you would anyone that you love. Treat yourself like someone you love. I am so privileged to be able to be here and to have these awarenesses come to me that I can share with you. And thank you for being here today and listening and tuning in a second time, perhaps, if you did. And you can find out more about me at melodybrook.com. I have my books and workbooks, poetry book, all on Amazon. In fact, I have a movie on Amazon. It's called Promises. And if you have any thoughts or resistance to the things that I've said today, please put them below, and I will comment. Or if you want to message me privately, feel free to do that too. Thank you for being here. And I want to see who is here today. Let's see. We have Bo. Bo says, I'm amazing and all good solid advice. I hope people listen to you. I hope they do too, Bo. Thanks for being here. Hi, Becky. Hi, Ed. Hi, Christine. I'm so glad that you guys tuned in today. Please share this with anybody you know that could benefit from embracing more of their own value and preciousness. And I will see you next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, probably closer to 4 than I ended up being today, because I did it once and it didn't work. And anyway, thanks for being here, and I will talk to you next week.